Why is coaching mindset an absolute must for health and fitness professionals? Welcome to the Pain Free Training Show. I'm your host, Jeff, co founder of the Exercise Therapy Association. I'm here with our head coach, Brendan Fox.
Hey, everybody.
Today, we're discussing why mental toughness is an absolute necessary part of the curriculum. So, Brendan, before we get into why we actually teach mental toughness with our students in every single exercise therapy course, can you just discuss a little bit of your background on being a mental toughness coach?
Sure. So initially, I was working as a strength and conditioning specialist, working with pro and Olympic athletes. And I noticed that a lot of people's physical fitness was way ahead of their mental fitness. So they didn't always have the best attitudes, the best discipline, the best focus, and it was weakening them and impairing their performance. So by necessity, I started to coach them on having good form in mindset and thinking and perspective. And the athletes I worked with were having breakthrough seasons. So one of my athletes in particular was playing professional football. He had a breakthrough season. So I went on national TV and was interviewed on a segment about training the forgotten muscle, the mind. And from there, I realized that there's an even more important game that all of us play and that all of our clients play, and that's called the game of life. And if this can help people achieve at the highest level of success in pro and Olympic sports, then just imagine the possibilities when we bring this to everyday people as well.
When you're dealing with a pro athlete that, sport is what they do for a living, or they're competing at the Olympics, that mindset piece, like 2% better, makes a huge difference in winning and losing at this level because they're so elite. But you also worked with everyday people too, right? So people that were maybe champions in other arenas like CEOs and business owners and things like that. And then fitness was not the area of expertise for them. These other areas were, but they became mental toughness clients of yours as well, right?
Absolutely. We spend a lot of time helping people with postural correctives and correcting their strength levels and their health levels and everything else. And this really comes down to correctives of perspectives, which is so central to our human experience. It impacts everything, our outlook. And I found it was critical for helping people get the best results possible.
So we have people that show up to a lot of our students and they are working in offices, they're working at the bank, they're working in different places. They are coming to the gym for fitness, but this corrective of perspective ends up helping them in a lot of their arenas of life. As you said, we're all playing the game of life, right?
For sure.
So the students that are taking the exercise therapy courses, they're personal trainers, they're strength and conditioning coaches, they may even be clinicians, and they're servicing mostly just the general population, like we just talked about. And so, why is it an essential part of the course for them in working with the Gen Pop?
It all comes down to results. Having better thinking leads to better outcomes, no matter what you're doing. Whether you want to burn fat, build muscle, get out of pain, you're going to need proper discipline, proper focus. You're going to need to be a more motivated version of you to do better at virtually anything. And there's a huge gap in this, just in the industry at large. I mean, we know working as a personal trainer, did you ever have a client that if they just followed everything you said, followed the diet plan, followed the exercise routine, they would have got great results, but for some reason they gave themselves permission to slack off? Have you ever experienced that?
Oh, absolutely. It happens all the time.
Yeah, and it all comes down to having more disciplined thinking to carry out anything we set our minds to. So there's a huge gap in the industry, but the thing is this, they know that when clients and ourselves get stressed out and we go into something called rumination. Rumination is when you keep thinking about a problem over and over. That exercise adherence goes down. Dietary adherence goes down. This can completely sabotage our results. Yet, So little time and attention is given to coach our physical fitness clients on how to overcome something like rumination. It's not just about teaching the best exercises and the best diet plans to follow for clients to hit their goals. We have to be realistic and address the true obstacles that hold people back. And most of the time, I will submit to you, the true obstacle is right between the ears, the forgotten muscle, the mind.
One of the reasons I love the fact that we teach these tools in the exercise therapy courses, because you mentioned the gap in working with clients in it, but it's also a gap in education, right? So, we go do a kin degree, we come out and we do these other certifications. We understand that it's part of our job to motivate clients, but we're not really given any good ways in order to do that. No proven methodologies onto how do we motivate them to show up? How do we motivate them to eat better? So we're left like just throwing slogans at them during the session.
Yeah, I think that as fitness and health professionals, we have not been given the tools to succeed when it comes to getting people motivated and keeping them motivated, when it comes to getting clients to believe in themselves, when it comes to helping clients overcome a toxic self opinion. Do you remember you did a kinesiology degree? Do you remember getting adequate tools on any of that stuff?
No, absolutely not. Like a lot of muscles and physiology, but this was an area that I was not taught. And in addition to just motivating people, I had clients showing up, and I'm assuming this is normal for most health and fitness pros, but they were talking to us about other areas of their life, right? So they're talking to us about their families, about stress at work, all this other stuff. You end up becoming like a part-time therapist in these sessions, but I was left figuring out, well, what do I do with this? Right. I'm a 25-year-old kid. Like, how do I help this 40-year-old man with what's going on in his life?
Yeah, and our clients largely define our jobs. Our clients will often share their challenges in life, hoping that we will give them some breakthrough insights and perspectives. We're going to have conversations with clients anyways. We might as well have meaningful, strategic conversations to give them strength on the inside, in addition to just strengthening them on the outside.
Absolutely. When you work with a client over 6 months, 12 months, sometimes years, and you see them twice a week, 3 times a week, you build a bond in a relationship with that person. It is not the same kind of bond that you might build with a doctor you see once a year. Like you see this person all the time and they confide in you. And so things come out during that time, and being able to help them become a better human being, or at least guide them a little bit in the right direction during these times is a really helpful skill to help you strengthen that bond. Now, in the courses, you say our psychology becomes our physiology. Can you explain or elaborate on that statement?
Yes, this is a scientific fact, but it's not common thinking. So, our thoughts influence our body on many levels. It can influence hormones, it can influence muscle tension, it can influence immunity, digestion, metabolism, healing rate. Stress can literally affect everything going on in the body. And in fact, they do measure this sometimes. That's how lie detectors work. Polygraph machines work because you can measure the stress response physically when somebody says something that's stressful, by telling a lie. So our psychology becomes our physiology. A lot of times, physical tension comes from mental tension. And you know what? It can be very circular, going around and around, helping clients loosen up tight muscles, stretching them out day in, day out for weeks on end. Nothing meaningful gets accomplished in the long term in some cases because we're not addressing the reasoning they keep tightening up in the first place. And sometimes that reasoning is just in the back of their mind, they got all these stresses and worries and disharmonious thoughts that are leading to these automatic physical responses. There's something called central desensitization, which works like this. The more stressed out you are, the more your mind turns up the volume on any sensation of aches or pains.
Mm,
Okay? It literally turns the volume up. You feel pain more the more stressed you are because your mind is on high alert. The more you can achieve peace, the less sensitive you are to all of these different things, all these different sensations. So, literally, by calming down your mind and thoughts, you can reduce and release some of the aches and pains in your body. And it can be that simple. And I've seen profound impacts of this stuff. Okay. I had one client come and see me. They had back pain for several years, had seen a number of chiros, physios, doctors, had tried muscle relaxants, all kinds of things. I asked them, how stressed out are you on a scale from 1 to 10? And they said, I am 11 out of 10. And I said, okay, do you think it's possible stress might be contributing to the aches and pains you're experiencing? And she said, absolutely. Okay. So we did mental toughness. Now, in this case, this particular client hated herself. She had zero self acceptance. She absolutely hated herself. And we went through what I call a self concept cleanse. In the same way that you might go on a juice cleanse, a gluten cleanse, a dairy cleanse, whatever, we cleansed her toxic self opinions. We did this over the course of an hour. And at the end of the hour, she was completely pain free and blown away. But I noticed a physical change in her. She was breathing different. Like just sitting there, she was breathing from her chest. She was just stressed and anxious, just sitting and chatting. By the end, she was so relaxed. And we never had to deal with her pain again after that. It was literally
wow,
gone. We had one conversation that changed her life. And
that's
that is
amazing.
the power of doing mental toughness. If we are not doing this, we are not truly helping people the best we can. Learning mental toughness helps us to help people even better and help even more people.
I think that we underestimate how strong of an impact it can have and how quick it can work, with the way our thoughts impact our body. But if we think about things that we know well, as an example, when we think about being hungry, right, we start salivating, our stomach starts growing. So just thinking about food can cause a strong physical reaction in our body instantaneous like that. And in addition to that, like if we think about getting in an argument or getting in a fight, our body starts to like ramp up, right? Turn on the adrenaline, our heart beats faster. We're not even fighting yet. We're just thinking about it, but it's causing a real physical reaction and sometimes a very strong one and instantaneously, right? So these are other mechanisms in the body that show how strong and how fast our mind can impact our physiology. Okay, so we've talked about how our psychology becomes our physiology, and you gave a great practical example there. Can we talk about some of the research that backs up the ideas behind what you teach in terms of mental toughness?
Yeah, I mean, there's research being done out of Stanford Medical School, Harvard. They're showing like over 5% longer lifespan. They're showing with motor vehicle accidents, the average time to recovery can be 3 times faster, a 3 time faster healing rate. There's been shown over a 13% increase in bicep strength through the mind. The muscles are twice as strong after casting through using the mind. So we're seeing all kinds of things in the research right now. All kinds of things. Faster healing rate, more strength, better, longer quality of life. Literally everything is coming down to the mind. And research is catching up to what we've probably all known deep down all along, that your quality of thoughts impact just about everything in your life. Every dimension of your health is somehow being affected by the quality of your thoughts. True or false? Bad thoughts usually lead to bad health.
Yeah, true.
And true or false? Better thoughts lead to better health.
Yeah, true.
I would keep it that simple.
Yeah, I think the research is going to continue to be done, and we're going to get more and more information on this as we go. As we know, science is a work in progress. But one of the things that I love that we talk about and that I quote to people when they doubt the impact of mental toughness or why this is so important is just the placebo effect, right? Because it's so widely researched. So, the placebo effect has thousands of studies on it. It's been proven over and over and replicated over and over, and basically is, if you give a control group a medication and then you give another group a fake medication, a sugar pill, up to 30% of the people that don't get the medication get better. So it's like, well, how are they getting better if they're not getting the medication, right? It's got to be the mind. It's got to be that they think they're getting the medication, which is creating physical change in the body.
Science will attribute up to 30% of the results to placebo effect. Placebo effect simply means having a positive belief leads to a positive outcome. Up to 30%.
Yeah, that's
That's
a huge
crazy.
number.
That's crazy. But there's also something called the nocebo effect. Having a negative outlook or attitude leads to a negative outcome in our health. And people don't talk about that, and that is a huge deal as well, because a lot of times people have limiting beliefs about health and healing, and those limiting beliefs get in the way.
Yeah, that reminds me of a client I had many years ago, and they were dealing with some aches and pains, and they had a fitness goal, but did not believe that they could get rid of the aches and pains, right? So, although you're providing a programming solution, their mindset is, I'm plagued with this pain. I'm plagued with this pain. And that's happening on a regular basis. And so that speaks to what you're talking about here, which is, I believe I will be in pain, so I experience pain, right? And if we
Yeah.
don't address that, how can we actually help them move forward on their journey? So in the courses, you created this curriculum where we teach mental toughness drills. And what the students do is they actually get tools. They have to put pen to paper and they actually have to do drills on mental toughness. So what is the key difference between doing a mental toughness tool or drill and all the other motivational techniques out there? We see, on Instagram, be the hardest worker in the room, or motivational talks that we get in books or on videos. What is the key difference between these drills and those other motivational techniques or mindset techniques?
Sure. I mean, most of what's being shared out there is like ingredients for
Mm,
mindset change. They're just isolated ingredients and they don't go in deep. It's just like painting over dirt. People are just not retaining it. But
mm.
when you drill it out, it is not just an ingredient anymore. It's a number of ingredients that fit together. And it's like preparing a recipe. You start to know it in your bones. You assimilate it into your atoms. It starts to go in deep. You can't just look at a recipe and feel like you truly know that. You have to actually prepare it yourself. And that's the thing when it comes to mental toughness. You have to drill it and practice it just like you would with an exercise routine, right? And that's where people often miss the mark. They will save quotes and different posts they like. Sometimes they read books, but you really need a recipe that's going to bring you the result you want in your life. And we put it together for the students. We give them handouts and they can do those handouts for themselves, and they can take the handouts to the clients that walk you through a thorough process to get things to sink in for lasting change.
Yeah, when I hear the word drill, I think back to university football, right? Where you start practice every day the same way, right? With drills. And it's doing, certain steps, it's going through certain motions, but you're drilling it in to your nervous system, to your muscles, so that when you are playing in the game, you don't think, it becomes automatic, right? You just react that way because you've drilled it thousands and thousands of times.
Absolutely, absolutely. You fall back to your training. I know for myself, and I know you've practiced this, whenever a problem, stress, or challenge faces me in life, my knee jerk reaction is not to get discouraged. It's not to complain or blame. My knee jerk reaction is to get curious. What's good about this? What can be learned? How can I make it better? Everybody has a stress response. Sometimes people indulge in excess drinking, excess food. Sometimes people just get mad. Sometimes they shut down. Mental toughness shifts us so that our stress response is to learn and get better from every stress.
When looking at the difference between, drilling mental toughness tools and, the books and the videos, I can share from my own experience. So I was and have been for a long time one of those people that watches the motivational videos. I read the self-help books. I think they've had a very positive impact on my journey in my life. But I will also say that, just over 10 years ago, when I learned these mental toughness tools from you, there was a profound change. And the profound change came from reading, listening, having quotes to doing, to drilling. Can you share another example of perhaps a client that you've worked with where they were having physical aches or pains and you had to tie in these mental toughness tools to what you were doing with them physically in order to move forward?
Yeah, I had a client come in with shoulder pain. She had been diagnosed with frozen shoulder. Okay, I hadn't seen her in a month. So she'd been diagnosed with frozen shoulder. She had extreme pain, couldn't really move her shoulder very well. And I asked her, I said, "What has changed in your life?" She said, "Nothing. I was doing our routine. I'm going through my day to day life just the same way I normally do." And then I said, "Okay, well, that's the physical dimension. Has anything else significant happened in your life during this time?" And she admitted that her mom is now dying. So I gave her a number of different correctives of perspectives. And then within a week, her frozen shoulder was gone.
So for the health and fitness professionals that are listening, I want them to think about from a business perspective. Okay, you've got a client that may have to take the next 6 months out of the gym, or at the very least see you less because they can't use their upper body and maybe you just do lower body workouts. And now you are losing that client. They are somewhere else, not able to work out and train the same way. That's a huge impact to your income, right? Over the next 6 months or longer. But now, because of the drills and the tools that you're able to implement with people, if you're able to get them back to the gym faster and keep training with you, you're able to sustain your income or keep your income at the same levels. But it also is a reputation thing that your clients are not having to take time off the gym as well too, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, we don't coach mental toughness unless a client gives permission first. Okay, so a client has to buy in. Are you open to the idea of doing mental toughness that might help you handle your stresses even better?
So our students coming to the exercise therapy courses, as we mentioned, are personal trainers, they're clinicians, they're health and fitness pros. People are coming to them for the physical. They want to work out, they want to get treated. So how are they practically implementing these mental toughness tools in the sessions or in their clients' lives?
That's a great question. Like, how does this fit in with the service I provide? There's a number of key ways in which we work this in. One is this: if you're a hands on therapist, massage therapist, or anything else, you work it in conversationally. You're going
Mhm.
to have conversations with your clients anyways. You might as well have a conversation that adds value to their life. Okay. So you work it in naturally as conversation. The other thing is, if you're, say, a personal trainer, you can easily have this on your phone, iPad, or clipboard, and you can walk clients through it during the warm up and then during rest intervals. So you've got lots of rest intervals during your workout. And this was the way I would do it a lot of times. I would have a client do an exercise, then we got 60 seconds off. We work through the mental toughness drill. Do your next exercise. We got another 60 seconds to work through the mental toughness drill. And I'm making notes on their behalf. And at the end, I hand them the mental toughness sheet. to take home. It's got a lot of the key insights and perspective shifts that we discussed, and that helps them to make a big shift on the inside while they were exercising their physical body. So it's very easy to blend it in. Like I said, you're going to have conversations anyways. You might as well have more meaningful conversations that help them with mental toughness. These days, a lot of people are doing virtual sessions, and you can do it that way as well. You can just open up the document and have it on your screen and be doing a Zoom virtual session with a client and just literally walk them through the document. And you can record it and send them the recording afterwards. In fact, I've had a number of clients that then added on the mental toughness as an additional service for me to provide on top of the physical fitness because they found such tremendous value in it. And I know many ETA students that have done this, where you're meeting up with a client once or twice a week, and guess what? Now they want to add one mental toughness a week because they see such value in it. And after experiencing it, they realize the benefit and they recognize the importance of doing this kind of work in their life.
That's a great point. A lot of people are having sort of hybrid models now where they're maybe doing a live session, a virtual session, or they're doing live all the time. But when a client goes away on a work trip or whatever, they're meeting with them virtually. So there's no interruption in meeting up with each other. The habit stays strong. And so you might do a body weight workout in a hotel room with them. And while they're doing that body weight workout, because it's not as intense as the live session you do with them, you can also spend a good amount of time working through those mental toughness tools. The other thing that you mentioned is great is that, can I add on an extra session a week in order to work with people, right? They get better results because their mindset matches what they're doing physical. You get more consistent income because your people are seeing you more. It's a win-win for everybody, right?
Yeah, and even for client retention, mental toughness is huge. I have a client named Craig. I have trained Craig since 2006.
Yeah.
It is 2026. We are in our 20th year together, meeting up multiple times a week. Now, in the first 6 months I had Craig, I got him completely pain-free. Okay? He was a regular busy executive with back pain, and we got pain-free in 6 months. The pain has not come back in 20 years. All right? Also, he's down to 12% body fat. He's been in maintenance mode for 19 years. Okay? Maintenance mode. And a couple years ago, Craig said to me, he said, "Look, I want you to know that I know I could work with another trainer for cheaper or more convenient and everything else. The reason I'm sticking with you and training with you is because of our conversations. Mental toughness helps us have more meaningful conversations. And when we do that, people are more likely to stick around longer."
The conversations you have with clients between sets matters. I managed hundreds, maybe over 1,000 trainers in my career. I ran really big teams of personal trainers. And when I walked through the gym floor, the most common conversations you hear between sets are about politics, about sports teams. What did we do on the weekend? And so you can use that time better. You can use that time to build a stronger bond between you and that person, and it will have an impact on your business long term.
I would encourage you to be adventurous and take the next step to see what it's all about. I would encourage you to honor that curiosity and just go on the adventure of realizing how good you can be and how big of an impact you can actually have.
Another great session on the Pain Free Training Show covering mental toughness today. So we learned about why mental toughness coaching is an essential skill set in the health and fitness industry moving forward. We also learned that it's backed by research. So there is a lot of research and even more research coming on the impacts of the mind, how they play out physically in our bodies, and how our clients can benefit from having tools to be able to help them with that. So Brendan, let's give everybody listening today an actionable takeaway from today's session.
Yeah, I'm going to put it this way. If you truly want what's best for yourself and you truly want what's best for your clients, consider adding mental toughness to your skill set. In the same way that you might encourage and prioritize good form on exercise, it is equally, if not more important, to encourage and coach good form on thinking.
As always, our mission is to help you help more people and help them even better. So we've got a free gift for you. If you click on the link in the notes, you can get started on helping people conquer aches and pains today. Thank you for taking the time to tune in with us today. From myself, from Brendan, from the entire exercise therapy team, we're here to help you win in your career.
Go team on 3, fist bump, and we're out. Everybody has to do it. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, go team!
Go team!